So, this is episode 311, 54 days to go to the end of the year, and 54 days to go to the official reading through the Bible in 1 year. Okay, so I'm doing this because a lot of people are curious about what the Bible really says, and there's no better way to really know God than to read the Bible yourself. Like, stop relying on other people to interpret the Bible for you. It can be tough, yes. There's some really interesting parts, fun, even enjoyable, and then there's some boring parts like this Ezekiel. Currently, now it's boring, and because there's a lot of metaphor and a lot of grimness. God is like so angry the entire time, and so it's difficult to read. But there's so much that you can learn when someone is angry, like someone like God is angry with you. So anyway, we've been making good progress, and then we're going to continue. So every day we read through the Bible. We follow a structured reading guide from this particular Bible reading guide, where we look at an Old Testament, a New Testament, a Psalm, and a proverb every day. I just retell the stories. I lace it with humor. If I think there's some humor, there hasn't been humor in a long time. If I think there's some humor, and I dramatize it, with Nigerian style. I also leave the comments. I leave the scriptures that we read in the description box so that you can follow us. Look, if you follow this podcast from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, for every single day of the year, you will find the Bible that you can read. Okay, and I'm reading it. You go read it for yourself. Yeah, you're free to disagree on my interpretation. That's the point of it, because God can speak to us in a million ways. Okay, that's not to say that there isn't general clear interpretations for things, but sometimes some things are so deep. Someone can be reading Ezekiel and to be speaking to them about a situation they need to make a decision about, and suddenly that thing comes alive. You go read it for yourself. Okay, lots of arguments about the Bible with people who have never read it before. They don't read the Bible, they read little books and little pamphlets and little things, and then come online and speak as people who have read the Bible. And there's something terrible about the ignorance of an ignorant person, that they're so intelligent yet so ignorant. Sorry, I'm ranting. Let me go back. Just a bit angry with some comments I saw. I don't want to say where, okay, because I don't want to be distracted. So today we're looking at Ezekiel 16 and 17. We're looking at Proverbs 27, 7 to 9. And we're looking at Hebrews 8, verses 1 to 13. So let me continue very quickly. Ezekiel. So Ezekiel was narrating yesterday about someone who was found as a baby, made beautiful, and then she forgot how beautiful she was, thought how beautiful was for her, and she began to offer herself to men, sacrifice her children, build pagan pride. Anyway, that was a metaphor for Israel, describing Israel. Okay, so let's continue and see what God is really trying to say here. You didn't remember me, you didn't remember all the things that happened because you were very young, but you're now. When I was trying to read the scripture, let me pause here. I thought I don't want to read the King James. I'm finding the King James too difficult to digest. Not boring, too boring to read all of this sections of the Bible. So I tried to look at my Message Bible today. I still didn't feel it. I didn't like the words they were using. So one of the words you used was sluttish. So I said, okay, I'm not sure I like the way it's been. I mean, it's right. It's described. It's really what it is, because there was so much description about Israel's adultery and prostitution. The Message Bible got it really in depth, but I felt like I wanted my favorite Bible right now version is the NLT. I just love the way they write these things. Anyway, so I go to the New Living Translation and I continue reading from there. So it says, "But your sluttish ways upset me, and I'll make you pay for it." Proverb makers will say, like daughter, like mother, like daughter. And truly, you are. You really are. Your sisters, Sodom and Samaria, they despise their husbands and their kids. Your Hittite mom and Amorite dad. Like, he's saying it in a derogatory manner. You despise your mom and despise your husbands and your kids, you with your Hittite dad and your Amorite Hittite mom and Amorite dad, your sister Samaria, your younger sisters Samaria and Sodom, you even surpassed them in their crimes, in their sins. And they weren't even as bad as you are. And all of us know the stories of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's where Lot's wife turned to salt. We saw that in Genesis. So what I've understood now is that this all of these prophets, all of these portions of the scriptures that we're reading, they are like they were happening around the time of the kings of Israel, and then when they went into exile, this was all the things that were going on. So they separated this so that you hear what God is saying, and then what was happening. They're like two different, and then put in the Bible at the those who took time to compile the Bible. So they weren't. He said that Sodom and Gomorrah weren't even as bad as you, weren't even as bad as you, Israel. Sodom's sin was pride, gluttony, and laziness. So I wiped her out, like lazy, like slothfulness. So that when you get to a place where people are lazy and collecting food stamps, everyone is just doing, no, there's a problem there. You're gonna be wiped out very soon. Samaria didn't do as half of what you did. Samaria didn't do half of what you have done. Yet somehow I still dealt with her. That wasn't put there, but that was implied. Someday though, I'll restore all of you, all three of you. I'll restore you, Israel, I'll restore Samaria, and I'll restore Sodom. You know, and the way how bad you've been will make them feel good in comparison. In comparison, once you look, you once looked down on them, but now you've been exposed, and you are being scorned by Edom, your cousins, and Philistia. I'll give you what you deserve, for you have broken your covenants I made with you when you were very young. So I guess young means Abraham, or just coming out of Egypt. I'll establish a new covenant and even bring in Sodom and Samaria into the covenant, even though they were not part of the covenant. I'll allow what I do with you spill over to them. Remember your sins and cover your mouth in shame and silence when I forgive you. I have spoken. So I'm speaking in first person now. Chapter 17 is completely different. It starts narrating another metaphor. A great eagle came to Lebanon, seized the top of a cedar tree, and took it to a merchant city, planted it and took its seedlings and planted it in fertile soil, beside a river where it grew like a willow tree, roots spreading and vines everywhere. Like a willow tree. Its branches turned up to the eagle, and its roots went deep into the ground. It was good soil, wasn't it? Then another eagle came, and this vine, even though it was planted on good soil with water, sent its roots to the other eagle. Now, God asks, will this plant prosper? Of course not. I will uproot it, cut out its leaves without a strong arm on army. Like I'll do it easily without even an army. I won't need to have another country pick a fight with you and deal with it. I'll just do something in the house here, and people will just scatter. That's what God is saying. So this tells this, you see, okay, let me know, then I'll say what I want to say. Will it prosper? Of course not. I'll cut its leaf without a strong arm or army. It won't thrive when it is transplanted. It will wither away when the east wind blows, and it will die in the good soil it once thrived. Now say this to the rebels in Israel. This riddle, what does this riddle mean? This riddle means the king of Babylon made a treaty with the royal family when he took them to exile. When he took them away to his country and exiled Israel's influential leaders. Do you remember when Babylon came in 2 Kings? So let me go back so that The king of Babylon made a treaty with the royal king when he took them and exiled Israel's influential leaders so that they remained weak and survived only because they made a treaty with Babylon. They could not do anything. They survived because they made a treaty. However, someone, but we inferred afterward that it was the king. The king broke the treaty and sent to Israel for help. Sent to Israel for help. Now, do you think he can get away just like that when he made a treaty with someone else? Do you think he can just get away, like that? He will die in the land. In the land of the person. He will die in the land of the king with whom he made that treaty. I'll punish him for disregarding the oath and that he made in my name. I'll put him on trial and kill his greatest warriors. I'll scatter his survivors. God says, I'll take a back. So let me pause here so that I don't forget what I intended to say. One of the things I wanted to say was that a lot of the things that we see happening, according to the Bible, there's nothing that is actually an accident. What seemed like a country is picking a fight with another country is actually God trying to say something. So he says, I will get rid of you without even an army. Meaning that when you, in a country, when suddenly another country starts to fight that country, there's actually something spiritual happening that triggered that thing physically. So let me give you an example. In my country right now, last week, a few weeks ago, we began to see and hear that the American president was saying that there was a Christian genocide taking place. Now, it's true. There has been, over the years, a systematic attacking of Christians in the core northern part of the country. The core northern part of the country is primarily Muslim, but they have heavy Christian population. Many of those states in the countries, there are about 19 of them, who used to be, they were not like Muslim states, but over several centuries, Islam spread through all those places. Some people still remain Christians, and then they have been burning of churches, killing of people. Even where I come from, there has been an attack, especially in a particular section of my tribe. There has been an attack. If you go to that part of my tribe, you will see that Muslims come, like there are people who say they are Muslims from there, which is so strange because in our tribe we don't have Muslims, but we have people who are our tribal people who are Muslims from there. Why? Because of the growth of Islam, right? So everyone is free to choose their religion. However, there has been, for it to spread, there has been a systematic robbing of Christians, like killing of people, burning churches. So they'll have these mass burials and all of that stuff, and people would complain, and then we got used to it. So after a while, you will hear that 17 people were killed in this church, the church was burned. People would just pray quietly. You won't see people standing up and protesting anymore. It seemed like nothing was being done about it. Then suddenly, the king of America, according to Bible language now, let's say King James language, the king of America decides to pick a fight with the king of Nigeria and says that you guys are killing Christians. We're going to stop your terrorists from attacking Christians. You need to stop. You need to call them to order. If you don't, we're going to come into the country and we're going to take charge of it. It's almost like God is speaking to a country and they are refusing to listen, and then God is going to use another country to come and flog them. That's what is going on. So this thing tells me that absolutely nothing. I know I hadn't really given it thought like this before, but now I can. That's how I feel. I feel like what is going on just absolutely means that God is picking a fight with Nigeria using the president of America. But those are my thoughts. I'd like to know what you think about them. So let's go back to it as we round up. So he says that, do you think, you king of Israel who made a treaty with Babylon, do you think you can get away by going to align with Egypt? No. You're going to die in Babylon for breaking the treaty you made in my name. So that means God really values that you are a man of integrity, whether or not the person you are doing business with is a person of your faith. Babylon did not know the God of Israel, Yahweh, Jehovah. Does not know him, does not care, does not fear him. But when God wanted to pick a fight with Israel, he triggered Babylon, and Babylon came and took the royal family away. exiled most of Israel's influential leaders, leaving Israel weak and unable to fight for themselves. You made a treaty that you will not break. And then you broke that treaty by going to Egypt to ask for help behind his back. I'm angry with you for doing that. So that means God takes like that integrity really serious, whether or not you are treating somebody who is deserving of it or not. That's what I saw here. I would like to know what you think, because I'm sure that you're reading it just like I am. Go read it, okay? The scriptures will be in the description box below. So God says, finally, I'll take a branch from the cedar top and plant it on Israel's highest mountain. It will become a majestic cedar. Birds of all sorts will nest in it. All the trees will know that I am the Lord, who cuts down tall trees and makes short trees grow, and makes green trees wither, and gives life to a dead tree. I have spoken, and I will do what I say. I just have one question for God here. Why do you use poetry to describe it? Why don't you just come out clearly so that everybody can see that you are God and let people choose you? Why do you use nations against nations? We have a lot of people who don't know you, who don't care to know you, who are not thinking that this has something to do with God, or who are angry with you. Why? Why do you like to speak in parables and riddles, God? Why don't you come out clean and let us hear you so that everyone can see? Like, I really want everyone to know you. Proverbs 27:7-9. That's the end of our Old Testament. I'll try to be fast now. 7-9. He who is full loathes honey, but to the hungry, even when it's bitter, it is bitter, tastes, even what is bitter tastes sweet. Like a bird that strays from his nest is a man who strays from his home. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantries of one's friends springs from his earnest counsel. Hebrews 8 verses 1-13, and we'll be ending today. I'm calling back all my old subscribers. Please forgive me. For over a month, I was unable to record. I just allowed life happen, and before you know it, one day after the other, things had gone to. So I'm calling back my old subscribers. I'm asking you to please come back. Mommy, Uchira is live again. Please come and let's read the Bible together. Okay? Please subscribe to my channel if you're watching this, and turn on the notification button to know when next I go live. So Hebrews 8, we were talking about Jesus has been made the high priest forever, right? Hebrews 8 now breaks it down. So here's the point. Our high priest, Jesus, sits beside God in the place of honor where he ministers in the tabernacle, the heavenly tabernacle, the true place of worship not built by human hands. Since every high priest is required to make offerings, so is our high priest, Jesus. I mean, on earth, he wouldn't even be a priest. Like, he did not come from the line, he did not fit into the I mean, I would have loved to see how Jesus was described, like physically. He didn't fit, he wouldn't even be a priest, since they're already high priests here doing that. Their system, though, is a shadow of the real one in heaven. For God ensured that Moses didn't stray from the pattern God showed him on the mountain when he was developing their systems. But now, Jesus, our high priest, has been given a more superior priesthood and mediates far better covenant with God based on better promises. Let that sink in. For people who are spiritually inclined, let that sink in. People who are Buddhists, who are pagan worshippers, that are different, many of them, so I respectfully call all of you pagan worshippers. There's a new high priest in town who speaks better promises. We want to consider your own promises, okay? Anyway, the first covenant wasn't faultless, or else the first covenant was faultless, or else God wouldn't need a second one. He said, and I quote, "The day is coming when I'll make a new covenant with Israel and Judah. not the one I made with their ancestors when I led them out of Egypt. They didn't remain faithful, so I turned my back on them. In this new covenant, I'll put the laws in their hearts and minds, and I'll be their God, and they'll be my people. They won't need to teach each other, for the laws have already been installed in their hearts, right? They won't need to teach each other to know me, from the big person to the small baby. I'll forgive their sins and wickedness, and I'll never remember them anymore. This is what God meant when He said a new covenant. It means the first one has become obsolete and it will soon disappear. It will soon disappear. That brings us to the end of our Bible reading today. Ultimately, what I think Hebrew is saying here is that God has set up a has set up sorry, I don't know what I'm sorry. So I decided to seize the bait that YouTube put here because I touched it and then it's trying to distract me. So sorry. So the summary of everything that I've read here today is that God will install the sense of good and bad in our hearts, the sense of right and wrong. And it's very important to know that there's a high priest who initiated that, and no one will need to be taught. So that means the desire to teach people, well, I don't know what I think about it. But there's already been work installed in your hearts. I think our job is to just reach out and accept this new high priest. This new high priest. All right. So I'm going to stop here for now. I'm going to stop here for now, and I'm not going to take this. No, I don't want this. Okay, so I'm stopping now. Thank you. I was distracted slightly by YouTube. They sent something on my screen and it was acting up. All right, so basically, we have a new high priest. Trust that the high priest is on your side. Take advantage of his high priestness, high priesthood, and allow him to bring you on board. That's what I learned today. Today has been fun, a bit. So I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you. Don't forget to subscribe.